Hello, Hanno. Welcome to Metalkaoz. My name is Dimitris. How are you?
Hey Dimitri, nice to meet you again. And well, I'm doing fine. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Honestly, I'm doing great because I was spinning the album before talking to you. And I love how you want to slap people in the face by changing no, I'm serious, changing the style. I love that.
Well, yeah, I mean, as much as you can change a style for a band that is playing for like 10, 12 years. But yeah, we definitely, yeah, it's a little bit more raw and a little bit more dangerous again. It's not that big produced. It's just like a very punk rock album, so to speak.
So is it because as everybody knows that the band came very close to call it a day in the previous album? Is this your way, and I'm including both of you in this question, your way to smash everything up and start, let's say, from zero? From zero?
No, not from zero, but basically concentrate on what the band was supposed to be from the first place. Like what is fun for us. And fun for us is just like playing music together and play as loud and as tense as possible. So like making this album just like only took a few days. We like no song we needed to like took longer to write than an hour or so, and we recorded the whole sucker live. It was very quick and dirty. So it was not us trying to reinvent the whole thing. It was more like to concentrate on our strength and what is most fun for us, because after the last album was such a very successful album, The Pain is Forever and This is the End, but also total pain in the ass to make. So we said if we're ever going to make a new album, it must be fun. And that is what it turned out to be. It was just like more like a spiritual healing, so to speak.
I hope we are not saying that pain is forever and this is the end. I mean, you don't hate this album, right?
No, I don't hate it at all. This was very successful and has
Okay.
great songs on it. But making it was a total bitch and I hated it. And the band almost broke up over it, not because we fought over it, more because it was so exhausting, like physically and mentally. It was just no fun. And making this album was just like it almost takes us back to a debut album, like the Death by Burning. There's a lot of similarities. It's just fun to play again. Like it's a long time ago that I've ever been so much in sync and at peace with an album we made, like since the debut album. So I'm very happy with the new one.
We can agree in this, as people say, like, right? When a sequence of things happen, and we
Yeah.
look, I look at the back, at the road that we followed. If pain is forever and this is the end, had not been released, then post-apocalyptic depression would not have been made, right?
100%. Yeah, you got it. That's exactly how it is. Like, and to be quite frank, I was not very confident that there would be a fifth album. So we were just in the studio in order to record some cover versions, just as I said, spiritual healing, just to have fun. So we rented like a small recording studio here in Florida and just recorded some old punk songs like Wire, GBH, and stuff like that. You can get that as a bonus 7-inch in the vinyl
The box.
box set.
Yeah.
But and that was so much fun that we pretty much on the spot decided, hey, well, let's write some own material. And like in the tradition and manner of these punk songs, we just like recorded some own very raw, simple material, and it turned out to be super catchy and good songs, like 12 minutes in like less than 35 minutes. It's beautiful.
Do you remember what was the first song you completed? Was it Absolute Ghost?
No, actually, that was one of the last one, but that riff goes back 20 years. I had that main lick, a variation of that, not one to one, but like kind of close already in another punk band that I played with in my 20s, and no one gave a flying fuck about, to be quite frank. So I thought, hey, basically no one knows that. Let's just reuse this for Mantar, and to be quite frank, it works way better in the Mantar context. So so yeah, that song technically is super old, but it was also one of the last songs we put together, so to speak, as a band. I think the first one might have been the third one, Principle of Command. I don't know for sure.
So speaking of riffs, is it my ears or does Cosmic Abortion have something from the White Zombie? I was thinking Thunder Keys.
That's funny. Like a couple of people has pointed out that it has like certain that all overall it has a lot of 90s vibes, but
Mhm.
some people like we're talking about White Zombie too, yeah. Especially like the last song, the Cosmic Abortion, has this ministry White Zombie kind of
Right.
groove kind of thing, and that's music we love, you know. Like I always been a big fan of White Zombie, so. I think the first thing that one guy at the record label said, it sounds like Nirvana plays White Zombie or vice versa.
Okay. Full disclosure, I'm not very fan of the grunge area, but this is my old school mind speaking. I have changed my mind since then.
That's fine.
What about the title? Although I can clearly understand the concept, I think I do. Post-apocalyptic depression. Is this the state that everybody feels like we are in right now?
Yeah, pretty much, you know, it's just like a little bit of a cynical title because like what does that even mean? Post-apocalyptic. Like, and I think in our modern world, post-apocalyptic is pre-apocalyptic. I think
Yeah.
like from one fucking scenario shit show up to the next one. It never stops. It's like a never-ending circle, almost like Nietzsche-esque, you
Mm.
know, Friedrich Nietzsche, you know, it's like a internal return, so to speak. So and like being in between the post-apocalyptic depression, so the cover artwork also, you have this girl staring into the nothingness. There's just like a deep emptiness and sadness in it. And then also I think like, and that's of course is a little bit of a cynical approach, but like, you know, people are so fucking tired of all the bad news and all the shit going down in the world. Sometimes I think like people almost like a little bit disappointed that the last apocalypse was not as promised the final apocalypse. They have to pull through more and more and like wait out more apocalypses, you know, because like it's just like 90% death, but not full all the way, you know?
Well, to be honest, no one has survived an apocalypse to know how it felt. So we will
But like
keep calling them.
what I mean with apocalypse is more like the day-to-day apocalypse we
Right,
live, you
right.
know. But I get you drift.
And the way I look at the artwork now that you mentioned that is the look is reads to me like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you read it right.
And for this one, you worked again with Aaron Weisenfeld. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Aaron Wiesenfeld. Yeah,
Okay.
he's an artist from San Diego originally, I think, and now lives in North Carolina, if I'm not wrong. And he already did the cover artwork for first album, Death by Burning, and
And the
also
spell, right?
That's correct. You did your homework. Yeah, 100%. So because we thought there's a lot of similarities like in the fun and the vibe and the all over energy of this album and the first album, it was like, you know, clothing the circle in a bit. So we thought it would make sense to use him as an artist again because I'm just a big fan. And honestly, when I saw that painting, I knew I wanted to have it like as a Mantar cover one day. And usually before we even have the music, the songs, I do have the album title, the artwork, and the song titles. And after I have that, I write the music around all that. Because for me, it's perfect. It's very important that the song titles, the album title, and the artwork like are in perfect sync, you know?
That's kind of, I wouldn't say strange because I'm not a musician, but it feels to me like backwards having the titles, as you said, and the lyrics before the music.
Not the lyrics necessarily, but I
Okay.
write the songs about I have the song title
Oh,
before
okay.
I have the music and the lyrics.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And you said, if I heard you correctly, that the art was already painted.
Yes,
Okay.
it was already like same with the Death by Burning and the spell
Hmm.
as well. There were already like existing pieces of art, which made
Okay.
it way easier because sometimes when you like send like you know, like give someone like the job, hey, paint me an artwork. What do you do if it sucks? What if you don't like it? That may like I rather have like an existing catalog of options that I choose from.
Okay. I'm asking for this because in the box set, in the vinyl box set, you have another art print. So I was wondering that art print was it? Did you consider as a cover art, or what is that?
No, that art print that is done by a good friend of ours from Germany who like does a lot of merchandise for the band, like t-shirt designs and stuff like that. and we just thought like this art print looked so cool that we thought, hey, that has a certain quality. We just want to, this is good like as an art print to sign it and put it in that box in the vinyl shape so people can frame it. We just liked it, and it was such a like opposed to the original cover artwork is such a like a counterbalance.
Mm.
It's a very old-fashioned metal darkness. We thought it would work very well with the title Post-Apocalyptic Depression as well. But no, that was never considered to be a cover art.
Okay, okay. And speaking of violence, I love how the rose white splatter looks now,
Yeah,
even
me too.
if there was a mistake.
Yeah, from the pressing plan, but it was like a happy accident. I like it better now too.
I was wondering, do you have any say in choosing the colors for the
Oh
band?
yeah, 100%. Absolutely. They sent us a catalog of
Mm.
options, and then we pick some.
Awesome, perfect. I love
Yeah.
the rose. Um, so where did you record the album? On what side of the Atlantic?
Oh, we recorded it here in Florida. I live in Gainesville, and my friend Ryan Williams, he has a small recording studio here called Black Bear Studios, and we already mixed the last album there, and we recorded our cover album, the Grungetown Hooligans, there, or mixed it there. So we worked with him several times before, and it's great. It's a super small joint. It looks like a rundown rehearsal room almost. So it's not intimidating in any way. It's not like this super slick, clean recording Hollywood studio. It's just like you go there in order to fuck shit up, like in a good way. Like it's very minimalistic. We did not use a lot of gear. We just like recorded it live,
Mm.
just like to be as one dimensional in a good sense as possible, like very direct.
So, are you saying that you were both recording at the same time the
Yes,
drums and the guitars?
absolutely.
Oof, that's very, very old school. Very old school.
Yeah, but that gives you the chance to capture a certain magic that usually bands only have when they play live. Obviously, it's not played perfect, but it doesn't have to. It's like, it's supposed like, there's no safety net,
Mm.
no parachute. It's like, whatever goes wrong is part of the art.
I hope younger bands or musicians hear that music was not supposed to be perfect, especially metal and punk. That both of these music styles are interconnected.
Well, yes, in a way, yes and no. But for me, punk and metal are very, very different things. Like metal, black metal, like think early Dark Throne
Mhm.
and punk and crust, whatever, they have a lot in common. But like, think about like bands like Dream Theater, Sabaton, and all that kind of stuff. That is for me, that is music from people who went to Guitar Institute in Los Angeles or something like that. And these people wanted to be good musicians. We never cared about being good musicians. That's not part of our message or deal. We just wanted to be intense. Like we just wanted to play as loud and as intense as possible, but we never cared for being very good with our instruments or anything. Like for us, the instruments is just an art form, a way of expression. And that's very punk. And I don't think that goes for a lot of bands. You can't say that. Like a lot of bands, especially from the metal genre, are very, very good musicians. But for us, we come more from a DIY punk underground background where it's more about the attitude and the overall vibe than it's about the perfect played song.
I am a diehard Venom fan, so of course, nothing needs to be pitch perfect. And this is, to my mind, the connection between that I have in my mind punk and metal, especially punk and thrash, and how it
Yeah,
all
yeah,
connected and merged into the black metal of the
yeah.
mid 80s, before even the Scandinavian explosion.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, yeah. I like my stuff primitive too. I just like that a lot. I like just like this raw
Mm-hmm.
metal and stuff like that. I like that kind of stuff. And of course, like and same with black metal. I'm from team Dark Throne. I don't care for the super highly produced opera kind of black metal symphonic compositions. I don't care for that kind of stuff. I just like it very primitive and raw.
We need to have that connection and keep our feet on the ground. But It's music, it's art. Let people do whatever they want.
100%. I don't
That's
judge. I don't
of course.
discriminate.
Did you have the music, the songs ready to go before you hit the studio, or you wrote as you played, rehearsed, recorded?
Like I said, like most of the songs did not take longer than 1 hour to write, if even. And most of the songs we wrote here in my office in Florida, where I'm right now, I just took the guitar in my hand, like an electronic guitar that I didn't even plug in, and Rinch like played the drums on his lap, like on his legs, basically. And then we recorded it with a cell phone in order not to forget. And then we drove over to the studio and recorded it. And some of the stuff we just thought it didn't translate when played with real instrument as good as we thought. So we just like rearranged it or wrote a complete new song on the spot. Yeah, that did happen. Like I'd say like 30% of the stuff you hear on the album was just like made up on the spot because the initial idea was just not very good. It was like, oh, let's try this instead. Okay. No. And I also like kicked out several parts whenever we thought this song is too long, it's not going anywhere. Let's just kick it out, like yeah, in order to keep it raw.
Hmm.
And yeah, no, it did not take long at all.
Very interesting. Although I am also on board of people interpreting the lyrics as they feel like, I have to ask, man, what's happening in Axe Death scenario?
Dude, like that's just like a joke. Like the song starts with a Buddy Holly lyric reference, you know? This, the Buddy Holly song, All My Love, All My Kisses, you don't know what you've been missing, oh boy. So this is like,
Now that rings a bell, yes.
yeah, and this is like, all my life, I've been waiting. Tonight there's gonna be X Death scenario. So it's a reference to Buddy Holly, just like dark humor, basically. And X Death, what happens in X Death scenario? Just like good old fashioned grim fun. It's just like exactly what you think it is. Think about The Shining when the guy comes through the door with the axe. There's no better feeling in the world than smashing axes through fucking doors.
I didn't have that image in my mind. Now I want to take an axe, smash
Yeah,
my door.
it's just great. Axe wielding, that's just like good old-fashioned barbarian Viking fun, I guess, Axe Death scenario. And yeah.
What do I hear at the end of Morbid Vocation? Is this Latin or something else?
Morbid Vocation. How did this does the song end? Oh, the what are the lyrics?
Yeah, there is something. It's not written in the lyrics, so there is almost a spoken part at the end.
Oh, I know what you mean. Oh, I love that. That's just like a monster voice, like, eh, influenced by these B or C horror movies from the 80s. So I just found some cool Latin words. Yeah, and it's Latin. And just like, recorded them and just like then morphed them into this weird like He-Man kind of 80s trash shocker horror monster voice. I just thought it sounded great. Not-
Well, it does. And since that you took this approach, make the music rawer, the music videos follow the same path, correct?
Well, yeah, well, you will see. Like we have like the first video out, and we're gonna have another song out this Tuesday, this Thursday. That's going to be very different than the Halsgericht song, So I think you're in for a surprise. There's going to be three videos, and they're all very different from each other.
So for Ex Perverso, this is the second one. I saw a photo in Facebook, and
Yeah,
now I'm intrigued. What is happening there?
dude, think Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas goes very, very fucking wrong.
Now that you mentioned, I think the poster you guys you announced, I think, two live dates. Your outfit looks very Fear and Loathing at Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, but that's the way, that's the way I look, I don't look like your traditional punk rocker or metal guy. I like, when you see me here in Florida, I look like, that's my style. I like to wear these bucket hats and like, nice shirts. And I like the Hawaiian shirts and I like that. And these 80s fashion kind of thing. I just, I like my ostrich leather shoes stuff like that.
Perfect.
I like to look like that.
Again, uh, creating antithesis is something, and another aspect in metal that we used to have. So please don't stop doing that.
Thank you. I won't.
The metal scene was supposed to shock people just like punk was, right? So let's keep that going.
Yeah,
Uh,
like I find nothing more boring than cliches. Like
Mm.
when everything is predictable. And like with all due respect, like most metal labels, all 90% of their roster, their bands, like have the same band pictures, the same music videos.
Yeah.
Everything looks exactly the same. It's just like, who the fuck are you kidding? Like, who are you trying to fool here? You know? And the Mantar approach is different. Yeah, like we work a lot with humor because we like to laugh and we're funny people. This is like the salt in the soup of life for us. We just like we don't take like we take our music very, very fucking serious and Mantar as a band, but we do not take ourselves as persons serious, Just like in a world like that and in the business we're in and stuff like that, you got to be able to make fun about yourself, and also like the stuff we wear on the pictures, that's not because it looks funny. It's just like, I have zero interest to wear like a bullet belt or like, leather jackets and stuff like that. I don't care for that stuff. I think cliches are very, very boring.
Yeah,
And
and at some point, we are doing a disservice in the younger generations because there are younger generations. Uh,
thank God.
yes, absolutely, and we need to show them the other face of metal, how it used to be, and not everything is cut and pasted. We have the discussions about AI in music, super produced albums, all that stuff. So I blame ourselves, the older guard, for not passing the torch as we should.
100%. Like, it's like a mixture out of being too old school and being like super single-minded and like only rely on cliches and that paired with gatekeeping. It's the worst. Like how is that supposed that climate to like bring up new interesting bands that do things different and think outside the box? It's tricky, so if I can't do anything as a musician, I want to encourage young people, just like, do not anything that I do is not carved in stone and it don't mean shit in the end. Everything that matters is what you think is cool.
Yeah, we are close to opening a can of worms, but I strongly believe that metal has become close-minded.
Oh, it's
It's not
always
supposed to
been.
be like that.
I think it's always been to a certain degree.
Mm,
You know? Like there's bands who always like were different to me, like think about Bull Thrower, for instance,
yeah.
or some black metal bands, or even bands who were like more like on the fun side and just like who played like super aggressive music but were super fun dudes like Obituary and stuff like that. I always liked that kind of stuff. But bands who tried like, dude, like not in a do you pose on a picture in like your dark black outfit with your bullet chains and stuff like that. You live in your fucking mom's basement. You ain't dangerous at all. Like who you trying to fool here? I think it's very, very boring. And I think it was close-minded because like if that's everything you have and that's everything you define yourself and your band over, this metal cliches, it's a very, very fragile kind of concept. So you have to be a gatekeeper because like if that someone is taken away from you, you're left with nothing. So I think it has mostly to do with people not being very confident. I could like go on a fucking beach naked and wrestle naked with 10 other men and it's still gonna be metal as fuck.
Okay, this is the idea for the third music video, right? We locked it.
It is the third video. You're in for a treat.
And on another note about creating cliches, some of those bands, because they grew up in their basement, this was their way of having their personal revolution. So that's okay too, because sometimes, especially in our teens, we want to go against the system, and wearing these leather studs and leather, all this stuff makes
I
us
did the
more.
same thing. I don't blame no one.
No,
Not
we are not blaming. I'm just,
I
yeah,
did the same thing. I'm just saying I'm 42 years old. I don't have to prove anything to anyone
correct,
anymore. Not
correct.
even
But
to
yeah,
myself. And I don't say that from an arrogant standpoint. I say that from a standpoint of being in peace with myself. I'm not crazy Lord of the Darkness tough guy. I do like, I just want to have a good time and just fuck shit up and play punk music.
Perfect. And speaking of playing, I will add live. What are the plans right now?
Well, in a week from now, I'm going to fly to Germany in order to rehearse because, like the drummer, he lives in Germany, I live in
Yep.
the US. So I'm going to rehearse and then we're going to play the first, a few record release shows. We're going to do a few German dates. We're going to do Amsterdam, I think. We're going to do Paris, stuff like that. And then we're going to do some summer festivals in the fall. We're going to do the UK and a few more European dates, France, just like that. Like, not too much if possible. I don't enjoy touring. I like being on stage and play music with my friend and play for the people, but all the traveling and shit like that, I hate it. Like hands down, hate it. I like everything about it. So, like, the band that we're in, we're aware of the fact that it could be way, way bigger and way more famous and bigger all over the world. But what that would mean is we would have to do like two full US tour and two full European tours every year. Jesus Christ, thank God. No, absolutely not. That's like that sounds horrible to me. So,
I'm laughing, but I'm 50 now, and I do understand what you're talking about. Traveling, especially international traveling, crossing the Atlantic. Oh my goodness.
dude, I play in bands since I'm 12 years old in punk bands. I played more shows than people have pissed. So, like I don't want to brag, but it's just like, dude, like I played everything from fucking squats in front of two people to like Wacken Festival in front of 20,000 people singing my songs. I'm so grateful for every part of the journey and I take nothing of that for granted. What I do though, being 42 years old, is to claim the right to only pick and choose what is fun and a benefit to me. That's either like a show where I get paid a lot of money or it's just fun. But just doing it because I don't know, a lot of musicians, they come home from tour and they fall into this hole. I've never felt like that. When I come home from tour, I'm like a happy as a pig in the mud. I can't get enough of it. It's so beautiful to be back home with my dog. I have a pet squirrel. I have a wife. I have 4 acres of land in Florida. I can't complain, and it's also beautiful to play music, but I don't have to exaggerate. Like, I don't have to overdo it. Everything and every at its time.
Okay, I will be straightforward. When should we see Mantar having fun in Chicago?
Dude, like I think we only played Chicago one time, and that was a long time ago.
2016, I think.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. Were you there?
No.
I have no memory, so basically I was not there either.
So I
So
should have said yes, right?
so maybe it didn't even happen. Honestly, Chicago is on the bucket list. What I would do, here's the thing. You probably heard that from several bands, not only from me. Compared to Europe, touring in the US is so expensive and so unrewarding and so exhausting. The money is bad, the logistics are a nightmare. Like the crew needs visas, work visas and stuff like that. It's very, very bad.
Yeah.
So, and me, due to the fact me living in the US for the last 10 years, it's also not super romantic to me anymore. In the early years of the band, yeah, we did like a lot of touring in the US in order to put our name out there and prove something to the world and ourselves. But nowadays, like I would like to do like a super chill tour where like say we play New York, day off, then we play Boston, day off, then we play Chicago, day off. Then yeah, for real. Then we play like Denver, day off, and then we're gonna do Los Angeles, Seattle, and Portland, and then I fly home. Basically, all the money you make on tour spending in the day offs to make it not too stressful. I'm game for that.
Yeah. All the some big ass bands that they play only as weekends and they travel home by their.
That's what we do in Europe, basically. Like a couple of years ago, I told the label and the booking agent, like, hey, I don't like being on the road for weeks straight. The shows are better if we concentrate on only playing like 2 or 3 shows in a row and then have a few days off. And that's what due to the fact Europe is rather small, you
Yeah.
know, like, dude, where I live in Florida, going to Georgia is like where I live in Germany, going to France.
Correct.
So it's very easy, and that's what we usually do. We play like mostly on weekends because also the shows are so much better attended, like because shows people go more to shows on Fridays and Saturdays, obviously. So, and that gives us time to rest. So right now, yeah, it could be a thing. I go over for 5 weeks and we only play like 14 shows or something.
Okay, I will be waiting in Chicago, so
Me too.
please
I would love
do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope, yeah, because that's another thing. I never can really estimate like how good Mantar would do playing a tour nowadays, because like, I don't know who would come out. You never
Oh, it's
know.
impossible. It's impossible, especially these days with so many shows and
Yeah.
prices have increased so much. It's impossible to calculate.
Which makes it not more tempting, but like sooner
Right.
or later, like we always love playing the US, and we usually always play like at least one US show like a year. Like last year we played like Full Terror Assault Festival. That was a lot of fun with Suffocation and some others. The year before, I think, the year before we played Desert Fest New York. The year before that, we played Northwest Tower Fest in Seattle and stuff like that. So we always try to do something here because we love the people. And I think the people who are aware of the band love Mantar. So we try to do it. But yeah, we got to come back for like real shows in cities, club shows.
Absolutely. Hanno, thank you very much for your time. Such a pleasure talking to a fellow
Likewise.
metalhead.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated. Thanks for your interest. Thanks for your questions. And shout out to Metal Chaos.
Thank you, man, and have safe travels and stressless travels.
Thank you very much. Have a great day, buddy.
Bye bye.